Hi guys, it's Tim from Advanced In Car Technologies again. I hope you're well. We've got the latest camera available from BlackVue called the DR530W channel. Now this is seen as the baby brother of the DR550, which is BlackVue's and probably one of the market's first real decent dual camera system for the front and for the rear. Now the DR550 for us, our original video had is almost coming up to 20,000 views now, so people are loving that. So thank you for watching it firstly. Hope you're enjoying them, etc, etc. Now we sold a lot of these cameras. They're going down very well. A lot of high-end cars are having them just purely because they're fed up with all the cash for crash fraud, insurance scams and all that sort of stuff. Plus you can also capture some pretty foolish behaviour out on the roads. They're particularly keen with the driving instructors to show how their pupils can learn how to, if they made a mistake, they can see where the mistake happened, and also for using as an instructional video. So let's get into it. The DR530 is a 720p camera. Now the DR550 was 1080p, so they've changed this. Hopefully the bit rates are a bit better, because the 550 did have a bit of blockiness on both the front and the rear camera. So hopefully when we look at the footage later on, we're going to be able to see a bit of a difference, especially because it's recording at a lower resolution, so hopefully the bit rate will be slightly better. So it's a normal square box like the DR550. We've got all our information here, built-in Wi-Fi. You can use your smartphone app to try. Let's see if we can get a bit more of focus. There we go. You can watch the footage through your smartphone, so either an iPhone, Samsung, Android running phone, and now BlackBerry had the new Q series. You can install Android apps, which is pretty cool, so you can use it on there. There's also a Windows 8 tablet app out there, Mac software, PC software, so there's lots and lots of ways of looking at your footage and changing your settings. So right, HD video at 30 frames per second. We've got compression as normal, voice guide, that's built-in capacitor, which is only really useful if you have a car crash, which I hope you really don't. So yeah, so the first thing to notice compared to the DR550 is that it's a nice stealthy looking system this time around. A lot of people were complaining that it was grey, there was too much silver, and it was a bit obvious once it was in the car. Well, they've changed that, they've taken your feedback on board, they've made it a bit more stealthy, and it's well presented. Nice box, sturdy, good foam again, no cardboard rubbish, keeping the camera all nice and safe. So we'll go over what we've got in here. We've got your main front camera with its front mount. Again, it's black. If you've got the DR500 or the 550, you can buy these mounts separately to make it a bit more stealthy in your car. Let's put that there. Here's the rear camera, nice and small, good quality. When it's installed, I've got the 550 in my car. Now, when it's installed in the rear and it's in the centre, it's not that obvious really. So I don't really see it being that big a deal. So I think it looks quite nice, very, very nice indeed. I'm just double checking what resolution this records at, because obviously, as you know, with bit rates, the camera has to share it between the front and the rear. Now, from memory, the cameras are recording at, let's have a look. Right, well their tech specs don't actually say what it is, but from memory, it's about 8 megabytes per second, 6 at the front, 2 at the rear. Well, that was definitely the case with the DR550. So this camera is again recording 720 at the front and 720 at the rear. So that's pretty cool. We've got a front lens angle of 128 degrees, so that is going to make things, it's not going to give you too much of a fisheye, it's going to keep exactly what it was. There were people that were saying it was a bit too wide, so they've definitely made that a bit smaller now, so that you get the best footage quality as possible. Again, 118mm lengthways by 36 on here, and then this one in terms of length is 67.4 by 27.6. So let's just put them to the side and see what else we've got in the box. got the foam insert, put that out. The accessory box that they've now started to do. Let's just see what's in here. Again, BlackVue have sent these products via the sole UK distributor, so thanks very much for sending them across. They do so that we can do these awesome reviews, so that you can see what the cameras are all about and what their new features are and that sort of stuff. So we've got the power cable jack, can either be hardwired behind the scenes, or just if you're a DIYer in your car, you can just plug it into your cigarette point. Handy for moving the cameras between vehicles. Can't really do it so much with the DR550 because of the rear camera and the AV cables and all that sort of stuff. Okay, big chunky instruction manual. The BlackVue 2-channel Wi-Fi Lite, which is the DR530W. So let's have a look. So it's very strange. The BlackVue manuals, some have English, some have Korean, some have no Korean, some have Korean. It's all very strange. But on this one, they've got a small segment in English, not as much as the 500 Lite, which I did recently. I guess by now most people know what these dash cams are, their features and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so that's that. The normal sticky mounts, USB adapter, all that sort of stuff. And here's the AV cable. Now, there was a lot of problems with the DR550 with the AV cable because it was knocking out people's dab. And if they had cars that had the smart lock on it, so that when you came up to it, it would automatically unlock, all that sort of stuff. So we actually spoke to Pittasoft about this quite a bit, and also the sole distributor in the UK. Now, they did release a new cable, which we were sent, we've tried it. It has improved situations, and the DR530 is now being shipped with this new AV cable. And the way that you can tell if it's the new cable is on the stem here. I doubt very much that you'll be able to see it, but there is an A and there is an L. And that is how you tell if you've got the new cable. It's a right angle connection and it says AL just down here on both ends. So it's something to look out for when you get your camera. Make sure it has this cable inside. The other one, if you've got a dab system, it's going to cause a few problems. We had a workaround of adding some ferrite cores to it. That really solved the problem. But the newer cable, as I said, has improved things. The dab issue is still there a little bit, but I guess with dab, most things are going to cause issues. It's not a massive problem. So, right, let's move all of this stuff to the side. Get that all out of the way. Okay, so small camera here and the large camera here. So we'll take this off and we'll find the tab. As most of you have probably already seen the DR550 video, I'm not going to go too crazy on this review. I don't want to waste your time, and because you pretty much know what these cameras do anyway. So I'm not going to bother powering it up. I don't think it's needed. If you really want to see the DR550 powered up, or the DR530, just take a look at the 550 video that I made a while ago. I'll put a link to it in the description below, so you can have a look at it here. Cool, this one really doesn't want to come out. Let's have a look. So they've obviously put these tabs on to make the cameras look nice and stay nice and all that sort of stuff whilst it's in the box, which is fair enough. So let's pull this off. You can tell that we haven't played with these yet because they've still got them on. Now, this is matte black. It's going to look very, very stealthy when it's in the car. It's not going to be like, hey, look at me, I'm black, I'm new. Now you can really tell that they've changed it on the lens here, because this lens is very, very small, and the profile of it is very slim as well. I've got the 500 camera out as well, so that you can see, this is the light version again, so you can see a comparison between the two and how they look. Now this one has still got its wrapper on, so excuse that. Now I've left the wrapper on and the mount so we know. So this is the 500, the new light version with no Wi-Fi, no GPS, and this is the 550. So in terms of size, they're pretty identical. They're exactly the same. They've got the same sort of profile, same heat venting along the side. But the big difference is that here you can see the 500's got quite a wide angle, whereas the 530 has quite a smaller lens. So you're only going to get 126 with this degrees, which in some cars is not going to be a problem. Personally, I think the more that you can see, the better. But obviously, as the angle gets wider, you're going to be losing that quality, especially around the edges. So that's why they've done that. So those are the two cameras compared in terms of size and what they look like and all that sort of stuff. But I definitely think what they've done with the colouring is definitely the right way forward. So put the 500 to one side. Let's get back to this. So we've got our normal touch sensitive panel here, which does the the sound on and off. It also has a Wi-Fi indicator that comes on when it's on. Got your record status there, if it's recording sound or not, and obviously your speaker and mics inputs there as well. You pull off the end, and behind you've got your SD card. They're preloading all the cameras in there with their own cards now. It's got, I don't know if you can read that, it says BlackVue on it, 16GB, class 10. As I mentioned in other videos, always go for class 10s. I'm not a massive fan of the Pittasoft cards that they put on there. I don't think they're that good a quality. We had a few issues with the DR380 cards. They were going a bit funny, so we've kind of said, okay, it's nice to have their card, keep it as a spare and keep that in your car, but buy a decent SanDisk or Samsung. So let's have a look here. Let's get the camera to focus in on this bit here. So we've got our power in and the AV cable. Now I will say this, with the AV cable, be really careful when you insert it into your camera, because there's been lots of people that have been a bit bold with it. They've gone into it like a bull in a china shop, and I don't know if you can tell, but inside this cable on the right hand side is a very thin wire element that has to insert into the middle of this AV cable. If you bend that or you damage it, your rear camera is not going to work very well, and you're also going to get issues with the picture quality and stuff like that. You can probably hopefully see that there. Now, this button here is the Wi-Fi button and also the format button. One nice push will turn the Wi-Fi on, same to turn it off, and if you hold it down for more than 10 seconds it will format the card. Now I always leave my Wi-Fi in the settings via the app. I'm not going to go into the app, there's no point. I've got a video specifically showing how the app works and the settings and all that sort of stuff, so I'll point you to that in the description, so don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. Now, with the Wi-Fi, I have my cameras always set to Wi-Fi auto run off, purely because when you're driving you don't need the Wi-Fi on. It's pointless. May as well keep the camera running as cool as possible, not having to do that much apart from what it is designed to do. So I would just do that. I would recommend you do the same, and there you've got your cable, power cable that goes in there. We always install these in the UK on the left hand side behind the rear view mirror, or in front of the rear view mirror even, so that it's nice and it's out the way, it's not in your field of view. There's all these cameras that have got suction mounts and stuff like that. There is a blog out there that talks about suction mount cameras and how their UK law is interpreted on them. If you just type into Google suction mount dashcam, it's going to come up. It's a simple blog. I don't know who wrote it, but it highlights some of the points necessary. So that's that. Here again we've got the smaller camera. This does come out. It takes a bit of force to come out, which is not really a big deal. It's a very light camera, rear camera, and let's just focus in on it a little bit. And it's very sleek. The LED on it you can't turn off, it's always on. Hopefully this is something that Pittasoft will sort out in a future release, so that we don't have this problem anymore. So let's just find the tab again. I'm sure I spend more time trying to take the plastic bits off than actually talking about it. Right, so that's off. So yeah, very nice slim camera. As I said before, it's recording at 720p at the rear. We'll have a look at the footage quality later on in the video, so that you can see front, rear and all that sort of stuff, and we can go from there. Sorry about that little noise just then. The phone decided to go off. But yeah, I think it's a good camera system. I think that they've overhauled the colouring quite nicely, so that it's stealthy, it's not too in your face, and it's going to do what people want it to do in terms of they want the camera, but they also want it to be hidden, because they don't want people seeing it's there, and they don't want people to try and steal it, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll get it in the car, we'll have a look at some footage, and we'll have a look at it through there. So as this is a dual camera system, I put it into the car so that we can take a look at the footage side by side. Now, the weather was pretty atrocious on this day, so you'll have to take that into consideration whilst you're watching it. Now, the front is actually not looking too bad, considering that it's not a full HD camera. The footage is clear, it's showing pretty well, and also, well, like I said before on other camera reviews, it's about what it can see in the event of an accident. Now, the rear camera, that also is not looking too bad, especially with its positioning and all that sort of stuff. It's showing what's going on, and the quality isn't too bad, considering that it's a budget dual dash cam system. Okay, there's better camera systems out there, but if you're on a budget, you want a relatively decent camera system, especially with the name BlackVue, then I think you're doing all right. And as you can see, even though we've stopped, the footage is quite clear, especially with the number plates.